could I ask the Environment Minister what plans he has to designate Marine Drive between Douglas Head and include Port Soderick and Port Soderick Glen with associated buffer zones?
Call the Minister to reply. Mr. Booth.
Thank you, Mr. President. My department is certainly aware of the high ecological importance of Marine Drive and can confirm the site would meet the criteria for designation as an area of special scientific interest. Habitats in the area include coastal heathland and flower-rich coastal grassland. A large variety of birds, including chough and peregrine falcon, can be viewed by visitors to the site, as well as butterflies and lizards. Dolphins, basking sharks and porpoises are also being seen off the coastline. A future designation of the area from Douglas Head to Port Soderick may well be able to include Port Soderick Glen, provided the Glen meets the specific designation criteria set out in the guidelines published in 2008. The Glen is species diverse and is a particularly good site for butterflies, with over 12 species known to occur there. Priorities for site designation are based on site vulnerability, coverage of all habitat types and rare features of interest. The Department strongly believes that Marine Drive is of high scientific interest, though as it is not currently vulnerable, we have not viewed it as a high priority site for designation at present.
Supplementary, Mr. Henderson.
Given the high public usage of the area, including some damaging activities that are reported from time to time, and farming activities to the landward side which may not be aware of the high wildlife significance of the area, would he not agree that in fact the Marine Drive designation and that of Port Soderick Glen, which he's highlighted as wildlife significant, should be brought further up the priority ladder, and this would give us a feather in our cap for our biodiversity strategy and indeed biosphere status?
Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, the high public usage is evidence that it is an attractive site. I'm not aware of any ecological damage, and I will certainly ask officers to look into that, as I would obviously be going to react if there are problems being caused. Just to give you an idea, there are around 100 sites that have been identified as possible ASSIs. So far I think we've brought 22 into the designation, but we are concentrating on sites that may be ploughed or damaged by agricultural use, rather than this sort of site. But as I said, I'm willing to have a look into the damage, and if the member would like to speak to the department and point out where damage is occurring, we will take that forward.
Mr. Henderson.
Will the Minister not agree, after outlining the huge conservation and wildlife importance of this very large area, which is an important amenity as well, of great social value, that it would be considerably easy for his department to designate it? It wouldn't take a huge amount of resources, if hardly any. There's a lot of survey work's already been done. And does he not think it would hold the department and the programme of government in good stead if he brought it forward? It wouldn't, would he agree it wouldn't hurt any other part of his programme?
Minister.
It's never as simple as it seems, and I take on board what the honourable member is saying in terms of priorities. But I had a look at the site prior to coming to this court over the last few days in terms of land ownership to the cliff areas at the top, and it's not quite as simplistic as it seems. But I'm willing to take it away and talk to officers and have a conversation outside of this court with the honourable member in connection with the priority.
Honourable Member for Garth, Mrs. Kane.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think the Minister mentioned there were 100 sites have been identified as possible ASSIs. Could he say which ones would have priority for the department and why?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's purely down to vulnerability, also the value of the site itself. But vulnerability is a key driver when we're looking at designation. If we believe the site's under threat from agricultural activity or other forms of activity, then obviously that is given priority.